Okay.
Yeah, we're
So-
here. You guys have never met before, so
No,
We haven't.
I've seen your name everywhere and heard your name everywhere.
Oh, good Lord.
he's the OG.
Yeah.
He's like the godfather of skating.
Okay. You invented the RA21. Why is it 21? Shouldn't that be?
They just assigned that number before I got in business. Realtors assigned that numbers randomly to various things.
What do the numbers mean though? Like, is there an RE1?
There's not.
Okay.
There's not.
There's a five.
This one's a 5, and then there's a 9, and then there's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, A, B, C.
Yeah,
There's
yes, there's
18.
there's not 17 though.
There's anyway, there's lots of them, all the way up to 41.
Okay.
It's just,
Oh, no,
it makes no
15.
sense.
15.
That's right.
Years. No.
What do they mean? Like, is there?
There's no significance.
They just throw numbers on it?
Just throwing numbers on.
And I didn't use the numbers until they went to electronic. When they were the handwritten ones, we called it the form. When I first got into this, I'm sure that
For when? What year?
5. So I've been 20 years. And so I remember when they first started using the number, well, you can just use a name.
Now you do.
Now I do. But it's funny. Because you whip out an RE25 and people are like, I don't know what you're talking
That's the disclosure with me.
That's the, seller's property disclosure.
Yeah. Okay.
See, you know,
Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Yeah, look
seller
at
in
it.
A, B, and C is, but
16.
16
That
A,
has
B,
to do with commission.
And
Yeah.
change the previously agreed upon terms and stuff.
I just want to know what the commissions are. I don't want to know what they're complete.
Yeah.
We all do. We all have
Okay.
commissions.
Is that what we're talking about today?
No, we
Yeah.
can't talk about commissions. We'll get in big trouble. So tell us about when you started.
I started in 1990. I'm from Idaho, born in Sandpoint. Lived in Sandpoint, Monastery, and Nampa as a youngster. When I was 12, my family moved to a small town at the base of Mount Rainier in Washington State called Enumclaw. My dad was a Chevrolet dealer my whole life, so I grew up in the car business. And I lived 20 years in Enumclaw, and I left at age 32. And I was tired of the family business, tired of the car business, and I moved back to Idaho, moved back to Boise. My mother was living here at the time, and I always liked it when I visited. So I just decided to relocate to Boise. I took my family, a wife and 2 small daughters, and moved back here, and I decided to go back to college to finish the degree I never finished. So I enrolled in Boise State. And I was taking classes at full load, but I knew I couldn't just be a student because I had a family to support. So I thought, you know what? I have friends back at home that are real estate agents and they do pretty good. And I think I'm just as good a salesman as them, so I'll start in real estate. And in January of 1990, I went to real estate school. And a month later, had my real estate license. And I started off as a Century 21 agent with Century 21 Gold Advantage.
Did you wear the jacket?
I had a jacket, yeah, the gold jacket. It was career apparel, is what they call it. Career apparel.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I had one that I'd wear to conferences. We have conferences. And so I really enjoyed real estate and I really took to it. So unfortunately, I put my college back on hold and started in real estate and in 1990. So this is my 35th year in real estate, all here in Boise. And after 2 years, I had got my broker's license and I kind of broke out on my own. I started my own company then. So I have it was small then, it's small now. I have 8 agents. It's a residential brokerage here in Boise. And, if you own a real estate office with 6 or 8 agents, you have to list and sell yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Which I did. So really, for the first 15 years, I was really a full-time agent myself with a small group of agents, anywhere from 3 to 15 at any one given time. So that's how I got started.
Awesome. And you've been a broker of multiple brokerages at the same time, too.
I am still. I'm a broker of a little referral company. Familiar with that? Agent Connect. At one time, I was a broker of those 2. And 4 friends of mine started a brokerage here in Boise, and none of them were a broker. So I was a broker for hire for about 2 years for their company before one of them became a broker as well. So I was brokers of 3 companies at the same time, which is permissible, as you know.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Was it stressful when you're multiple hats?
It was at the time. It wasn't at the beginning because, as you know, in 2004, I started a real estate school. So I was running a real estate school. I'm running my brokerage, and now I'm running their brokerage. And these guys were hard chargers. They built this company. We had agents, and they were so productive. That was at the beginning of the phenomenon where you started these online platforms to capture leads. And they were expert at it. And so they had so many leads and they had so many transactions. And I actually came to them after a couple of years and said, you know what, I need to have you find somebody else because I can't do all of this. I had so many balls in the air trying to juggle. So they got their own broker. But, it was a challenge, but it was a good challenge. I learned a lot from that little company that they.
Yeah, what transactions do you knowledge
The
you
more
get?
experience you get, more.
It's awesome. So school, he started a school.
Did. I started a school in 2004 because I was feeling burned out. Remember, I was an agent as well. I was burned out of brokerage. I'm 15, 16 years in, full-time agent, which can happen to some. I had started teaching at nights for the Pioneer Real Estate School, which is the big real estate school.
Right. Is that what you attended?
That's where I attended. I started teaching night classes, the Get Your License class at nights, because I enjoy teaching. And so I started that in 2004. And of course, you remember the market 2004, you just started or were starting.
Yeah.
2005, the market just went crazy like it did during COVID. So there was a lot of students, and I decided to start my own school in 2004, Pioneer Real Estate School, which I had great admiration for. We're doing really, really well, and I felt like they could use some competition. And so I started my company and provided that competition, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
You were going to ask him a question.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
But he
might
has
not be-
because he doesn't know you. So
I
yes.
don't remember what those were because we chatted about that on Friday, right? How often is the class what you're teaching go through? Is it every 2 weeks? Is it every? Lay that on. How does that look? Because of course I haven't been through real estate school.
And we field this question multiple times every day at the school, on the phone with people that call or email in. What does it take? And so the Idaho Real Estate Commission is our regulator. Department of Insurance is your regulator. Ours is the Idaho Real Estate Commission. And so they develop certain courses for certain topics. And then outside of those courses, we can develop other courses as well. But the ones they develop are the most important to them. And the class to get your license, which is a pre-licensed salesperson's course, is divided up into 2 halves, each 45 hours. So we teach, the most popular way is for people to sign up, and we go Monday through Friday for 2 weeks in a row, and then they're done. So it's a boot camp kind of style, 8 to 9 hours a day of instruction. It's a quick flyover of the real estate industry, but it gets them done the fastest, so that's the most popular way. We also have night classes where they go in the evenings for 4, and now we're transitioning to 5 nights a week, I think, for 4 hours a night, and then that takes them about 5 weeks to finish that one.
And are you teaching both of those, or do you have other people that help teach that?
Well, I didn't have night classes when I started my school. I just did the day classes, and I taught those myself every month for the first probably 14 or 15 years. Then I would do broker classes every month as well. And we do that day class every month, have since I started. And on top of that, we have continuing education needs. So we have a week of continuing education classes. And also we have a broker class, which is 3 or 4 days long, depending on which one of the 4 they're taking. And when I first started, you're building a business, you kind of do it all yourself. So I did teach all of those myself. And now I have a little bit of faculty, a really nice faculty. I've slowed down on teaching myself. I teach a couple classes. I don't teach the 2-week class or the night class. But I did take a broker class or two here and there, and a CD class here and there. The rest I backfilled with some very competent instructors.
Sort of qualifications, if any, do people need to have before they sign up or are accepted into the program?
Well, the minimum standards established by the Real Estate Commission is you have to be 18, and you have to have a high school education or equivalent. And other than that, you just have to finish the course. You have to go through a fingerprint background check, and you have to pass a state exam. And that's about it.
And there they go.
There they go.
There, anybody that shares their why that they're getting into real estate, and is there just you hear the same answer from a majority of them, or is there a lot of different reasons as to why they're doing this?
There's a handful of reasons we hear, and we hear those with every class, because we start each class by getting to know each other. We're going to be together for a long time, so let's introduce ourselves and give the class kind of everybody's background. So we hear most of the time they just want to become a real estate agent. Because they've been fascinated with the field, and now they're just pulling the trigger to become a real estate agent. So that's the answer we get most often. After that, they're getting their license to help another real estate agent as an assistant, licensed assistant. And whether that be someone that they know or someone that they're related to, like my parents are in real estate, they want me to come in and help them, my aunt, my grandparents. We get that a lot as well. Every once in a while, we get my employer wants to have someone in the office that has a real estate license. We get that every once in a while. And then occasionally we get, I don't plan on helping everyone else. I just plan on, I'm a real estate investor, or I'm going to be, and I want to use my license to benefit. And so that's why I'm getting a license. And then the last category I think would be, this will be I just retired. I want something to do, and real estate is interesting to me, so I'm going to get a license.
And what was your why?
I wanted to get in it when I was in California. I lived in California for 1 year, and I passed all the tests, took all the classes, and everywhere I went, they were like, you need 6 months of income to sell every broker. And I had 5 hours of income in my bank account. Like I didn't have enough. So I came here and got married. Once I got married, I was like, I can sell real estate now. Sorry, I'm not working at that job anymore. So I've had people tell me my whole life I would be good at selling real estate. That knew me.
Yeah, it's worked.
And it's worked.
Good.
I don't think people in the industry thought I would be successful when they met me, but after they got to know me, or I just did it. Because I've had people tell me. So how's real estate changed? Because you got in it in 1990, and I know since I've gotten in it, just in 20 years, the number of pictures on the MLS has changed, and I was talking about forms that
What's changed, here's some of the major changes I've seen from the 35 years I've been in real estate. What a real estate brokerage company looks like. When I started, actually every company had a brick and mortar office space like we're sitting in right now. And agents had an office, or they had a cubicle, and they would come in. The business on the internet started while I was already in the business, so I saw that start. And that, of course, has been the most seismic change in real estate, is just the technology. And so when I first started in real estate agents were the gatekeepers to real estate brokerage. Buyers especially had to contact a real estate agent to find out what's on the market or how much is that house. Now, buyers and sellers know about new listings before we do as real estate agents. So that has changed, which was petrifying to us when that started back in the 1900s when I started in real estate.
that sounds like a long time ago.
Yeah, it's the 1990s, but still, technically that's the 1900s.
Yeah.
You would show houses where any of the clients are allergic to the horse that would pull you around, or
Everybody had a horse then, so it was expected that we're on.
a little more exposure.
Yeah. So everybody had a horse. All the kids had their own horses when the family went to look. So anyway, that changed. Of course, the internet has changed everything. And for a while, I think real estate escaped the major changes that the internet brought to our life. I think for a while, actually, about the time you were starting, we still kind of controlled the information, even though buyers could somehow get it if they tried hard. They still had to come through us, and so we were really frightened that and then Zillow showed up and Realtor.com, Homes.com, they showed up, and so now everything has changed, and they predicted the demise of the real estate agents back in about 2000. There was a famous speech given by a NAR president at a meeting about the lions coming over the hill. And he was from Hawaii, so he used a lot of references from Hawaii. And they were predicting the world was predicting the end of the real estate agent. They predicted when the internet started, this is going to end travel agents and real estate agents. And as far as travel agents, it almost did.
Yeah.
With the world of travel agents. They're back a little bit now, but not in the way they were before. There's twice as many real estate agents now as when they predicted that.
And the buyer's agency has gone up 80. I think it's 80%.
Yeah.
Since Zillow started.
Yeah. So anyway, the internet, believe it or not, for those of us who were a little intimidated by it or fearful of it, has really helped our industry, but we've had to adjust. So getting back to the brokerages, brick and mortar, you don't see that much. I have a friend here in Boise who is the broker of 600 or 700 agents statewide, and his office is in his home in the Highlands of Boise. And not a single one of his 700 agents has ever stepped through the front door of his home to the office. That's the main office. Because it's all done on our phones and tablets and, as you know, laptops. So that's kind of changed. And the models now still keep evolving. The Redfins and the EXPs, where they're not a franchisor. They're just a gigantic company and everybody works for the same company. That's what we're seeing now, which is changing the industry a little bit. But in the end, the reason that the travel agent went away and the real estate agent didn't, I think, is the product we're selling. I'm very comfortable booking a trip myself on my laptop, and you probably are as well. But not everybody is as comfortable buying or selling a home. It's a different product. So that's why I still think people want the help of a real estate agent with respect to their real estate
It's a big transaction.
It
It's
is.
expensive and it can be
Yeah.
catastrophic if you don't get all the right hurdles crossed.
Correct.
So I think travel agents are coming back because of the customer service piece, which I think is why we also stayed in business.
Yes, they are.
I know my mom uses a travel agent and it was nice, like if something happens during the trip or like.
You just call your
someone
travel
sick,
agent.
You just call the travel agent and the travel agent takes care of everything and it's not like you're having to deal with whatever the issue is and figure out the
Yeah.
travel piece. So some people like that.
Yeah, if something goes wrong with the house, they'll call you.
They don't call me.
They should,
I know maybe.
right? And then you pass it over.
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do.
did, like,
Yeah.
when something goes wrong, especially if it's just the transactions happen relatively recently. If it's down the road, they kind of know that it's their deal.
It depends on their experience as a client or consumer too. Their old buyer, experienced buyer or a first time buyer.
Yeah.
I get lots of calls from first time buyers, but that's fine. It's part of the gig.
That is.
So what's this piece of mail?
Mm-hmm.
You could disregard that. You can disregard that one too.
Yeah. They take
That's
pictures
free.
and send it
Don't
to
worry
me.
about it.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
Thanks for reaching out. That's what we tell them when we're signing with them. Is if you get any of this junk mail or whatever it is, send it over and tell us what it is.
Yeah, because sometimes it is something.
Mhm.
But
Like their
it's not.
mortgage payment statement. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
something.
down if you want to open.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's all done online too.
Mostly.
So how come teaching, you talked about you were in car sales family, so
I
the
did.
teaching piece how did you know you liked teaching and how?
I just did. I always enjoyed it. I was a scoutmaster, for a few years, with kids, and I enjoyed teaching them. And in my church, I taught some of the church classes. I knew I liked it. I knew I liked teaching. So that's what kind of drew me to it. And I still enjoy it to this day, even though I don't do it as much. I really do enjoy it when when I get going.
And you are a local celebrity with the teaching. I think everybody always enjoys when they take a class from you, but you also have taught nationally.
I have. Yes, I have, actually.
So how did you get into that? Like, how did that evolve?
I put on a presentation once at a National Association of Realtors meeting. I held a position that required me to put on a presentation to so 300 or 400 people. And in the audience was the realtor leadership of the state of Illinois. And they contacted me after the meeting and said, we want to hire you to come talk to our association executives and expand upon the topics you taught at the meeting. So they flew me out to Illinois. I brought my little family with me. We made a trip of it.
That's awesome.
And that started that. And I didn't really pursue that very aggressively. But years later, I ended up teaching instructor development workshops for other states. And I did 4 or 5 other states, some instructor development workshops. Yeah, so I taught a little bit of Idaho.
Yeah, you have a reputation outside of Idaho, a good reputation outside of Idaho.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah. I guess if I said reputation, you might be like, what kind of
Yeah.
reputation?
Oh, yeah, you have a reputation.
Yeah, everyone knows who you are. A good reputation. I run into people all the time that know who you are. And,
Oh,
have
well,
good things to say. So it's
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So,
that's great. That's always nice. And you were in leadership.
How do you two know each other?
Oh,
from the business, just
yeah.
you meet people in the business, which is one of the more enjoyable aspects of being in this business. It's a people business. So it's buyers, it's sellers.
You know that person
Well,
well.
I
He
do.
knows everybody.
And you do transactions with other agents. You get to know them. You hold leadership positions at various levels. You get to know other real estate agents, and you develop some really long-lasting, wonderful relationships that way. So Elizabeth and I met each other I don't remember the first time we met, but we've known each other for years.
Yeah, I think I had a classroom. You just keep meeting because you don't remember your students ever. Like I don't. People will come up to me and
You mean their names? I remember a lot of the faces. I don't remember their names.
So sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. And they'll come up and introduce themselves and like I was in your class. And it might take me a minute or I might not remember them at all. So I think.
I remember just this last weekend, my wife and I ran into a woman who I know in real estate. And she had her adult daughter with her, and she introduced her adult daughter, and she goes, I know Mike. I said, really? She goes, yeah, I took a class from you in 2006. So I remember you. Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Did you remember her?
I did kind of. The face rang a little bit of a bell, but I could have never recalled her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meet people and I'm like, I don't know why I know you. Like, because
Right.
maybe they were in my class.
Yeah,
maybe-
grocery store, out to eat, you're on an airplane.
Yeah.
Taken off the land in Boise, all of a sudden that was much now with our population growth. But it used to be up to 5 or 6 years ago. And you're flying in or out of Boise, you probably knew someone on that plane.
Yeah. I know. And
That's what I love about Idaho is we're still small enough to where you do run into that a lot more than if you're in a big, more populous area.
I tell people we're in class all the time because we get people that are coming to Idaho to get their real estate license. And I'm like, Idaho's 1 degree of separation. And they don't believe me, but I do.
Yeah, actually,
People
that's
on
pretty, I
Facebook-
like that. That's pretty good.
Like people on Facebook, I promise there'll be somebody we know together, like a mutual friend.
Mhm.
And they're like, I think they should go and look eventually, but it's 1 degree, especially in the real estate industry. You have
Yeah.
to behave yourself because people do know you get a reputation.
Well, getting back to what's different about the industry, one of the unfortunate things about the changes in our industry, from whatever sources, agents don't communicate as well together. They don't talk as much. They certainly don't meet together, which I think is unfortunate. I think that's a societal thing, not just in real estate. But there are a lot of real estate transactions where the agent with the buyer and the agent with the seller have communicated a lot, but it has never been on the phone and it's certainly never been in person. And so you never get a chance to really develop that relationship. And there are some agents that unfortunately are against that, against getting together, against talking on the phone. Will only accept a text message or an email, which is really unfortunate because if that's how you are with your buyers and sellers, that's not I don't think that's a good way to go about the business, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that's a change how agents interact with each other. They don't as much.
So when you started, did you still go to someone's house to present the offer as a
Yeah.
buyer's agent? Did you have buyer agency then?
Well, it started in '96.
Okay.
But so my first 6 years, there was no such thing as buyer representation. It was the common law of agency. Everyone represented the seller. But I'm going to be honest, even though that's the way we're supposed to do it, if we are working with a buyer who we either knew or were related to or had become friends with in the process, and we're thinking, I'm going to help you write this offer, but technically I represent that seller who I've never met, human nature takes over.
Yep.
And that's really not how the way you felt. You really were trying to get your buyer the best deal. So I'm kind of glad in '96 they codified Idaho statutes to take our rules to make them statutory rather than common law. And they're very similar, but it officially allowed us to represent a buyer for the first time in '96. So yeah, but we did. This is back before you could. Cell phones didn't exist
No.
really. I mean, they kind of did in the mid '90s, but they certainly were smartphones. And the internet was just kind of grabbing hold. But when you had a buyer want to make an offer, you had the buyer sign it with a pen, you press hard, and you called a listing agent and said, when can I meet with you and your seller at their kitchen table where I can go over this offer with them? And that was standard procedure. And now if you ask an agent to do that, they would freeze up. Which is too bad, because it was a real opportunity to develop a relationship with that seller and the other agent. And as you presented the offer and kind of hit the high points of the offer, you started by saying, I'm going to tell you about our offer, about our buyer, and then I'm going to excuse myself and you guys can talk. And I always encourage the listing agents to tell your sellers that they don't have to say anything, that they don't have to. It's a private conversation,
Right.
But I do want to present. So when you say our offer contains this, and this, and you say something, you saw them visibly react. You knew that was something. You said, "Is that closing date too fast for you?" Because that's when they stiffened up. Then you could say, "My buyers are flexible," so you could almost start ironing out little wrinkles right then.
Yeah.
It was great, and we don't do that.
No, and that's why I like talking on the phone to agents, because I can hear the pauses or the change in their voice tone. It's the same reasoning for talking on the phone that you're talking about with a person. That would be so much better. Lately, I have been thinking about.
So I had one of my agents, this has been 6 years or so ago, and he's a younger guy, his 30s time, and he called me in exasperation because he had the buyer and the seller were going back and forth on the repair request. You're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Negotiating repairs. And they were on, I think, their third of, maybe even their fourth repair request that had not gotten ironed out. And I said, have you talked to her? He said, you mean on the phone? I said, yeah. Have you talked to her? Pause. You can do that? He asked me. I said, not only can you do that, you should do that. Pick up the phone and call her.
Yeah.
And talk it through if you can. He called me 15 minutes later, said, we got it all worked out. Got on the phone, got it all worked out. There you go.
The phone is the best. I mean, if you can't meet in person would be even better.
But there are some agents who would refuse to answer that phone.
Oh, yeah.
I hear about it in class all the time. The agents say in class, you just can't get anybody to answer the phone anymore. It's
Which is
not
actually,
a real estate thing.
it's more dangerous, honestly. Because when I first got in real estate, I had an agent who wouldn't answer the phone. I went to my broker and I said, I can't get him to answer the phone, but he'll text me. And this was like early texting.
You pay
Flip
10
phone, where
cents.
you hit the button 3 times. Like, it was painful to text unless you have Palm Pilot, which also dates me a little bit. And she goes, can you print them? And I said, well, I probably could figure it out. I was techie then. I'm not as techie these days, but I was then. And I said, I think I could figure it out. And she goes, well, if it's permissible in a court of law, then it's just as good as talking on the phone. And now, when I teach the core, there's a whole section on text messages. Like, you can put those in court. Like a verbal phone call, unless you record it, that's fine. Like, I think it's
electronic
it's a very
communication.
disservice because
Yeah.
you can have a good conversation without having to be, and you can say things you can't do with a text or email. Not that I'm encouraging people to have bad behavior, but
You still can't form a real estate contract agreement electronically, but through text and email. It still has to be, somebody still has to sign. either electronically, but you can negotiate and you can talk it through, but you still have to reduce that conversation or email to writing, have people sign it electronically or
Yeah.
old fashioned wet signature.
There was a case law though that said if it had all the elements, it could, like, it was possible, not that it would.
Well,
And
I
I
don't
don't
know what's
know
happening
why
on the
that was in another.
That was in another state. Some states are starting to honor that, but Idaho has not ruled that the statute of frauds, as you know, still says
In
any
writing.
transfer with an interest in real estate has to be in writing signed by the parties.
Yep.
So
It's
that's it.
crazy. It's crazy. So what was you were a commissioner, real estate commissioner for 8 years?
I
Well,
love
actually a little longer than 8 years.
9 years, yes. And you happened to take my seat.
I did take your seat. It was my honor, one of my biggest.
Well, you've done a great job, and it was an honor for me as well. Very fond memories, like my realtor leadership years, which predated my real estate commissioner years. I used both of those experiences to develop relationships that I still have today
And
with
your
people.
leadership, you were, when it was ACRE, you were president of ACRE?
I was first I was president of our MLS, and then I was president of the Ada County Association of Realtors, was now Boise Regional Realtors. And just to show you the difference, when I was president, we had 1,350 members, and now we have, BR has how many?
Under 6,000.
Yeah, so it's a bigger association. But I was president of that association, and then I became president of the state association, State Realtor Association, and I love those years. I like to volunteer that way and participate in the industry and give back. And then after that ended, I took a couple years off because that's a long stretch of,
Yes.
it's a little challenging sometimes to balance family, career, and that. And then I applied for a seat on the Real Estate Commission and was appointed by Governor Otter, and then reappointed for a second 4 years. Then my appointment, you serve until you're replaced. So even though I've technically finished my second term, I can still serve until the governor and Governor Little finally found his girl and you, and so appointed you, and I was off. But I loved my time on the Real Estate Commission.
What was your most surprising?
Most surprising thing, being a commissioner. I think my most surprising thing was probably the sheer effort it takes to get something done in a state agency. They oftentimes move at such glacial pace to just get something done. That kind of surprised me and disappointed me a little bit. So that was the thing that I think was the hardest, and as commissioners, you propose to even help write legislation and,
Yeah.
and getting that passed with legislation, which is not a slam dunk, gratifying when it passes. But even that with respect to processes and internal processes and rewriting courses that need to be rewritten. I remember we worked on rewriting the broker law class we even have a task force and put in hours and hours and hours, and we still couldn't get over the goal line. After probably 3 or 4 years. It was spurred 3 or 4 meetings, and then everybody had assignments, and most of them didn't do their assignments, so we got together again, another jump start. And then finally, we just appropriated money to pay someone to write the course, one single person to write the course, because there was too many cooks in the kitchen before. But I mean, that took years to do.
That's
A project that should take 6 months took 6 years. That was the thing that was most challenging, being a commissioner.
Yeah, and you served on the Ed Council a couple of times because of your.
I did Education Council.
Yeah.
I was on the Education Council prior to being a commissioner as well.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
was a commissioner representative on the Educational Council for a couple of times when I was a commissioner. Yeah.
You've done it all.
Because education is, one of my things. I like it. I believe in it. I enjoy that. But that part of it, I don't necessarily enjoy. The challenges of getting courses written or rewritten.
Yeah. Well, for the commission, it's easy for you to do it as your.
As you know, for electives, it's a totally different process. I'm talking about the course where you have to be certified, the pre-licensed courses, broker classes. There are certain courses where you have to be certified to teach, and that's an annual renewal process and training you have with the state. So it's a little bit of an effort to remain certified. Our elective courses, you don't have to be certified. I could hire you this afternoon to teach a 4-hour course.
I'd like to.
Those days.
What am I going to teach?
I don't know. What do you like?
Whatever's thrown in front of me. Let's go. I
So
need, to, I, need to work on my, I need to work on my public speaking.
assist the parties in keeping a deal together.
I would like to say, how could you help me do better for you? I think those are kind of the things that would be fun to teach realtors and lenders what we can help,
How you could help the process.
how we can teach them to help us to help the process better. One thing rather than texting, phone calls, emails, whatever it is, right? It's fun. I enjoy teaching. I used to do, when I was at a former company, I would do, there was a real estate school that would come into our office and they do the, however many hours, I think they were there for 2 for title and escrow and just go through that, and what that looks like, start to finish. Yeah, there's the president's signature on all those little patents that we got, and how do we get to that subdivision over there from that?
So when you started, did you do settlement statements?
What do you mean?
Like I've heard that real estate agents used to help put the settlement statement together. Like that's why it's on the test.
Oh, no, the industry, agents have really never put settlement statements together. It's always been title and escrow that did that, who do that for a living. The reason we have it in real estate school, which I don't think it should be in there.
I don't
Right.
either, but it's on the national test.
Is
It
that
is.
putting it together based on the information that has come across to them?
And I'm on that committee, so I'm hoping to have a sway.
So the reason I think the Idaho Real Estate Commission has it in our curriculum, it should be in the broker's curriculum, not in the salesperson's pre-license
Yeah.
curriculum. They should take it out of the salesperson and just exclusively teach it in broker classes, which they do. Because as you know, the responsible broker has to ensure the accuracy and completeness of the final settlement statements. So that's why it's covered. But I don't think I know a single broker that would admit that, yeah, I helped the title company put that settlement statement together. Now, I do believe licensees should look them over after the title company has developed them, because oftentimes there's a debit or credit on the wrong side. And oftentimes it's because there was an addendum to change that we never got a copy to you of. So it's not the title company's fault, but I do think you need to look it over. But no, I think we should stop teaching prorating and building settlement statements.
Net sheets are more important because I create a net sheet from the title company.
That's a settlement statement.
It's prior to, usually when we're asked to help with the net sheet, it's before they're meeting with them to figure out what it is.
Where is the title company that lets you go in and put the address in and then it populates the taxes?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
um,
Then you put the closing.
and then you put the commissions in, and then if you know there's other costs involved,
Mhm.
you
Is that usually before contract is open?
I will do it for a listing for a seller because we're trying to price it out and I want them to see what they're gonna net, because if they're gonna price the house where they're not gonna be comfortable with the net, then we should be listing their home. So I'm like, I want it very clear what they're gonna get at the
Yeah.
very beginning. So, and then I do the same thing, sometimes when I present the offer, I will send a net sheet over and I'm like, I don't know what they owe, but here's what our offer would do. So if you can enter what they owe on the house, then they can subtract that from the proceeds. And so it allows, because I don't know that all agents know how to do that.
Oh.
And especially if you have something quirky, like you're changing commission or you're changing someone's paying for something in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, agent doesn't always catch those little.
In paper and calculator and figure it out. It should be all right.
Well, yeah, in theory.
I'm not gonna do that because the system does it for us.
I'm sure we do have programs that help you guys out.
There's good programs. That
Yeah.
help us out. Now, does it help us out when I send over a closing statement for review that has about $11,000 difference in seller credit? No, because that was operator error.
Yeah.
But that's the point of the review, to make sure.
Yep.
Because the table when they're signing is the last place we're going to be.
That's an unfortunate time to have to change things.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Especially if someone else has already signed it.
And then I'll go make a change and come back, and then I have to go back again and come back and break out the car salesman report and say, this is the best that I can do for you right now.
That's funny.
It is good. I've done that before. It's been fun. Lightens the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
This can be tense situation.
It can be.
So anything else you want to tell us about real estate? Like why it's been a great career or your favorite?
It has been a great career for me and my family. I just think it's because I like it. I like real estate. I like the product. I like the fact that it happens out there and not in the office. You're out there driving around, looking at properties, listing properties. I like that aspect of it as well. And I like the interaction with the parties that you're working with generally are good. Sometimes, not so much, but as a people person, I enjoy that part of it. So all of those kind of come together, and real estate has been good for me.
How has teaching impacted your real estate business?
The real estate brokerage business, I really think it's made me a better, more knowledgeable broker. Because the best way to learn something is to teach it, as you know. So if you have to teach these principles, they really sink in. We teach the classes and students come once every 2 years and they hear it once. And the likelihood of them remembering it after class is not that great. But if you teach it a dozen or 2 dozen or more times, you internalize that. So I think that knowledge has helped me as a practitioner. And even though I don't do really too many personal transactions anymore, I love being a broker to my agents, and I love helping other brokers and salespeople who call me regularly. I'm not their broker, but they want to know how to handle something, and I'm always happy to talk to them. And oftentimes I have an insight to a solution or an answer to their questions, and I enjoy that.
Do you coach?
I don't coach. I don't know if I'd be a good coach. That's surprises a lot of people. The subject that I enjoy least to teach is negotiating. Even though I think when I was an agent broker doing transactions personally, I do think I'm a good negotiator. I don't think I'm good at teaching that topic because it's just everybody's different. That's something where everybody's personality changes their approach to negotiating. So I don't know. I've never contemplated being a coach. So I don't know. I've never really thought about doing it. I'm not sure how good I'd be at it.
Probably better than you think. Don't you think you'd be a good coach? You'd be seated
I thought he was a coach up until now.
Yeah, because he has coach on his shirt.
Oh, so
His baby
that's like a coach shirt. They got shirts.
I think they make women's shirts. Does Coach make men's shirts?
I thought they only made purses.
No, this is from kids. I don't know what you're
That's not a coach shirt.
It is not a coach.
Yeah.
Can't even
I
say.
saw an ad that we were watching golf and I'm talking about an ad.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
they're listening.
I saw those ads.
Yeah, the golf was good this year. Did you see that last putt?
No.
I just saw the replies busy, but golfing, by the way,
Okay.
so I didn't see it. But I saw the replay. It was marvelous.
Yeah.
I'm glad he won. I was rooting for him. It's kind of the underdog. I like seeing the underdog.
65 foot.
Was that what it was to win? Oh, he had two putts to win.
And then the 17th hole, he had a good hole.
Yeah.
So he hit the drive. It was a par 4, and he drove the green. He had to 2-putt it, but he still got a birdie. And then this was a 65 point. So he was already ahead. And then it's 65.
He could have won by one. He won by 2.
Yeah, because of that.
Because of that, making an amazing putt. That's like Nick Taylor's putt a couple of years ago at the Canadian Open. Nick Taylor, the Canadian, won in front of his home country playoff with an even longer putt, which is great. Love that stuff.
I love that stuff. Yeah, they were showing Tiger's 2008 because it was a rain out during the yesterday, so they were showing his. He had like chipped one in, and then he had a long putt. Like it was like
Which was
remarkable plays on every hole.
Which was the one where did he chip it or it was a chip, and the ball just sat there for what?
Yeah.
Like it felt like a minute and a half.
Yeah, and then finally
3 seconds and it dropped in, and the logo on the ball. They said you couldn't have gotten the logo straight because it was crooked. And it was the Nike
swoosh
was turned sideways. It's like Tiger, you couldn't have gotten it because that would have been the perfect.
Well, they could probably mess with it.
Yeah.
So we're glad you came today.
Thank you. And the name of the podcast is
Awkward Conversations Real Estate.
Awkward Conversations. So I hope this wasn't an awkward. It wasn't awkward to
It
me.
wasn't awkward. You better.
Which is probably a little tough because you have to change the name of it.
I can't.
No, that's okay. We'll try to bring back.
Too late. Usually we get too many calls.
Well, we do occasionally do something. So we forgot microphone. Well, I didn't even have microphones the first time.
Yeah.
Alec was like, "Where's the microphones?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I I didn't even have them. But then the 10th episode we did with Denise Macias. Do you know her? She's taking classes at your school, but she sells international real estate.
Oh.
And I had the microphone, but it was attached to that, and we only used that.
So you're improving.
It's not really the conversation portion that right now is awkward. It's more awkward more awkward when we don't have a guest. Would you?
Yeah, when it's just the two of us, because we've had a couple where it's just the two of us talking.
Oh, okay. Did the guest not show up, or was that?
No, we just
have anybody.
we had time.
So it's only real estate. I think that's the only thing you're talking about.
Well, we could, and we do have those with Summer's list. She was here. We talked about our kids. Summer with Innovate home warranty.
Okay, well that's real estate.
Yeah, but we talked about kids and like raising them and
Governor Little,
oh, wouldn't that be great?
senator, sir.
Those do have
Another business owner, another business. Someone owns a farm.
I have to start tucking my shirt in if this is going to happen.
Yeah.
That's only.
No, look at it there. There's people that have thousands of podcasts. We're only at, you're at 12. We're at number 12, I think.
Well, I've read that once you get past 10,
That's what you said.
you've got staying power. That's kind of the magic number. Get to 10. Most podcasts never get to 10, I read.
Well, let's hope that that's true. We're having fun. And it is a passion project because it's fun to talk to people and learn about what happened in the 1900s.
You're right. Back when I started in the 1900s.
Almost started back. I was in 03.
It really is amazing because like the contract is written for not having a buyer agent because it has a listing agent and selling agent.
Yeah.
That is one of the most confusing things to people.
Well, that's those are the industry terms that we use, but for persons coming in, selling agent, well, that's the agent working with the seller, right? No.
And I would guess there's people that are watching this that they don't know that and they've been selling real estate for years because they don't read the contract. They just put the names in the spots.
I see them every month. Agents with a lot of experience who've never really internalized that. I really wish we would change selling agent to buyer's agent. Listing agent, then
It would
no
make
confusion.
it less confusing.
And just because you put that label on it doesn't mean all of a sudden they're a client. It just says that is the agent working with the buyer.
Yep.
You
But
should run that up the flagpole. You're so influential.
not really, but I could.
From our perspective, it would make it a lot more. Yeah.
It's not clear now, so it should change.
Maybe I could just send a segment to Jason Risch, like this little piece of the conversation.
White out the terms of whatever you can and put over what it should be and see how far that goes.
Well, once you make that recommendation to the forms committee,
Yeah,
see why they can't just change that label, selling agent to buyer's agent.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It never made sense to me. It took me a long time to understand that the title company and the escrow company are in different places. Is that the two sections?
Well, that
And
was
they're
his.
all together.
I
And
know.
it's because
Well,
I
in
didn't
some
realize
states,
it was-
I came from state Washington. I did real estate before I moved back to Idaho, where the title company was a different company than the escrow
Yep.
company. Now, our wonderful title companies in Idaho take both those services typically. Although you can bifurcate those and separate those, but you'd probably, how would you feel about issuing a title policy to an escrow, just an escrow company?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we do that across county lines, or we don't have title product
Yeah.
or anything in there.
And there was.
I like the way we do it.
Yeah,
So I have a signing.
okay,
There you go.
that's why they're walking by.
Very nice.
It's nice to
Nice seeing you.
chat with you. Nice to
Thanks.
meet you.